In the week that the Renters' Rights Bill has been passed, which all intents and purposes basically wiped out landlords, and a lot of them will be exiting, which on its own is a controversial topic to begin with, given the video this week in the comment section. But we now have, again, someone in government, in particular Rachel Reeves, who has broken UK law by not getting a license that is required for her to rent out her property in London, which, by the way, the rent is £3,200 a month. At this point, I'm sure Keir Starmer must be just sat there thinking, can I have 2, 3, 4 months straight without someone in my government being under the spotlight? And the person in question here is Rachel Reeves. Rachel Reeves, who is probably the highest ranking or highest profile person in his government, who, by the way, in 27 days' time is going to deliver a budget where we are likely going to see tax rises across the board for normal people. And now this story brings into the spotlight her own personal circumstances. And I'm going to try and be fair here. Is this an oversight? But as you can imagine, the vultures are circling. Kemi Badenoch and the Tories are already saying, well, Rachel Reeves should be sacked. She's broken the rules, she's broken the law, she's denied it. Did she do it knowingly or not? And this is where I'm going to try and be fair. But I guess for this video, I just want you to tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Let's just jump into this so you got full kind of like remit of what's going on right here. Okay, so there's the article. So Reeves faces cover-up claims after breaking housing law. Chancellor faces potential £38,400 bill after failing to obtain a license from council for property she rents out. Now, we'll come back to the whole £38,400 in a moment, and I sincerely hope that she gets hammered with this. I do, because I think as someone who is in a position of power, you should know better. Now, it says here, Rachel Reeves faces accusations of a cover-up after wrongly claiming she and her husband did not know they needed a license to rent out their home. The Chancellor is facing a potential bill of £38,400 after she failed to obtain a licence from Southwark Council for property rents out in Dulwich, South East London. In a letter to the Prime Minister on Wednesday evening, she wrote, "We were not aware that a licence was necessary." But on Thursday evening, emails released by Downing Street showed detailed discussions about a licence between her husband, Nicholas Joyce, a senior civil servant, and estate agent Harvey Wheeler. On Thursday night, the owner of the agency apologized for an oversight and said an employee who had offered to apply for a license had resigned before the tenancy began, and the company did not pick it up. So it feels like there's maybe an honest mistake here, but let's just read on. Sir Keir Starmer has now told Miss Reeves she faces no further action after consulting Sir Laurie Magnus, the independent advisor for ministerial interest. Sir Laurie said it was regrettable that Miss Reeves initially said she was unaware she needed to obtain a license, but had not acted in bad faith when making that claim. In his letter to Miss Reeves, Sir Keir told her it would have been better if she and her husband had done a full trawl of their emails with the estate agency before she issued her first statement. Now, this is where the £38,400 thing comes in. Miss Reed's failure to obtain a license means her tenants can now claim back a year's rent to be funded for living in an unlicensed property. As the house was rented out, £3,200, Miss Reeves could face a payback to pay back £38,400. Now, does this sound like an honest mistake? It could be. And again, this is where I want to try and be fair, right? It could be that emails, especially if she's busy and she's got someone else that's handling the affairs for her, emails go amiss. And as the estate agent's saying, someone quit, but nobody picked it up. But here's the thing. If the shoe was on the other foot, if the shoe was on the foot of just a normal citizen and this had happened, would the powers that be say, okay, look, all right, so this is simply an administrative error here. So you knew, there was communication to say that you needed a license, but the person who was going to do it for you at the estate agent left, and therefore the estate agents didn't pick it up, are you off the hook? I mean, in an objective world, do you see that being the case? Where you have to explain this to the council to say, I've not picked up a license because of this. They'll be like, no, it's your responsibility. Much like when you're doing your tax returns, it's your responsibility to make sure that you're filing the right information because any mistakes are your own. This is a mistake of her own doing. She wasn't paying attention to the detail, or her husband wasn't paying attention to the detail. To simply say, I didn't apply for this license because someone at the estate agency left and they were supposed to do it on my behalf is not an excuse, regardless of whether you're in power or not. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And when you go on to the article here, they actually have like literally copies of the letter. You go all the way down here, you've got pictures of the property there. You've got literally copies of the letters from the letting agency to say this is what you basically need. Yes, some of this stuff has been redacted for sensitive information, but you can read all the correspondence that is out there. I mean, this is it's absolutely crazy. It says here the council requires private landlords in certain parts of the borough to obtain a £900 selective license to prove that their property is fit for purpose. In a statement, the council said it would not take action against the chancellor. So the council's not even going to take action against the chancellor, saying she now has 21 days to apply for the license and pay for it. The decision does not prevent the renters from asking for their rental money back. So is this because she's chancellor? That the council's not going to do anything? We're going to give you a 21-day grace period because it's an honest mistake. I mean, honestly, it smells, it stinks, it's fishy. I would love to know anyone out there if you've been in a similar situation within that borough where you've missed it and they've just been so lenient and been like, oh no, it's completely fine. And I don't know what the consequences are. I don't know whether they fine you or do whatever, but I'd love to know if anyone has an experience who is a landlord in that area and see how lenient the council has been. Power does speak. And the fact that she's chancellor is probably gone into this. I mean, I'm speculating here, but I can't think any other reason why the council will be like, oh, it's completely fine. Because if it's Joe Blog on the street, I doubt that they'll say, oh, it's completely fine. Don't worry, there'll be a fine coming because the councils need money. I mean, please make this make sense. And this is where we expect more from our leaders. We expect more from those who are governing the country, governing us, right? We're supposed to abide by the rules, but they get special dispensation because they are who they are and because they're in office. That's how it feels. And if anyone argues that they shouldn't feel like that, I mean, I'm sorry, but it's very, very hard not to automatically have it feel like that because it's hidden behind the fact that you guys are governing the country. And this, I don't know, look, you tell me what you think in the comment section down here, because this for me is just completely ridiculous. It doesn't really garner a lot of faith in the people who are in government right now. Doesn't garner a lot of faith in Keir Starmer, Rachel Reeves, or any of them. And it just feels like it is one rule for them, one rule for everyone else. And, you know, we get to a point where you start to see this thing so frequently that you start to say, look, the proof is in the pudding, right? And that's how it feels right now. It feels like the proof is in the pudding because this is not the first time that we're seeing this. We saw this with Angela Rayner apparently making a mistake. Now, look, again, trying to be fair, it could be a mistake. But regardless, if this was on the foot of a normal person, those mistakes would be punished. So why should they? Angela Rayner paid the price. Why should she get off scot-free? I don't know. You tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Happy Friday. Cheers.